I'm just beaming and full of life and kind of like jazz inside my body. It's really exciting and wonderful to be here. But tonight's lineup, I've already cried in the lobby twice. Thank you, Eli. My gosh, I have goosebumps. And here I go, third time. When I publish poetry, I am taking huge risks. I love poetry so deeply, and I watch other presses so closely, and I take the risks that they do not take, and I have a vision for what poetry can do and the future of literature and the people that love it, and to be recognized, for our poets to be recognized, and for poets like tonight that we're celebrating to be spotlit and celebrated is like absolutely unimaginable, and it has just like broken my heart open to the possibilities. The finalists for the LGBTQ plus poetry finalists this year are so excellent, but the range is also just so vast, and we are just in for such an incredible treat. And I just feel so lucky that when I was like, Heidi, should we go to New York? Heidi was like, yes. Should we have a reading? Yes. Who should we have a reading with? And we reached out to our finalists, and they all said yes. And the miracle of like these incredible moments is that people say yes, people take risks, people come out, people RSVP, and they show up and they're here. And the incredible people at Poets House don't know me, and maybe if they do, I've been a little annoying. And they welcomed us with open arms and accepted my really thorough event doc as a peace offering. But this is all to say, we are in for such an incredible evening. Soak it up. Thank you so much for being here. Throughout the evening, we're going to be doing some giveaways. And my only request is, if you give it 2 beats, remember, anybody can be anybody. So if your name's, let's say, Jason, I call your name, and nobody says, I won that book, suddenly you can be Jason. So we will cross that bridge when we get there. I would love to get us started with our first reader for this evening. Eli Clare. White, disabled, and genderqueer, Eli Clare lives near Lake Chaplin and unceded Abenaki territory, also known as Vermont, where he writes and proudly claims a penchant for rabble-rousing. He has written 2 books of essays, the award-winning Brilliant Imperfection, Grappling with Cure and Exile and Pride, Disability, Queerness, and Liberation. His newest book is the mixed genre volume, Unfurl, Survivals, Sorrows, and Dreaming. Additionally, he has been published in dozens of journals and anthologies. Eli works as a traveling poet, storyteller, and social justice educator. Among other pursuits, he has walked across the United States for peace and helped organize the first ever queer disability conference. Please give a warm welcome to Eli.
So, I want to talk about how folks feel about the readers unmasking in the room. It creates a whole bunch of access for people, particularly in a space where we don't have interpreters or captions. So, how do folks feel about readers unmasking? Okay. Thank you so much. thank you so much. Thank you. I keep saying to folks, I don't know how the Lammy judges are going to pick one book out of this group to win. I have no idea. And I'm so delighted by that. So I'm going to get us started. Well, let me pause here and remind us that we can mash this room up in whatever ways we need to make it more accessible. We need to knit or draw or doodle or stim to be here, do that. If you need to lie on the floor, do that. If you need a wall to lean against, do that. We have access copies of what's being read out in the lobby. So a little bit of access. So I'm going to start us off very specifically with a set of love poems. Because holy crap, we need love poems right now. So this first poem, and by love poems, I mean love that we're never going to find in a Hallmark card, right? These are not the Hallmark love poems. This first poem is kind of sweet, though. They get less sweet, I promise. This is called How to Love for the Long Haul. Remember, love is a muscle the size of our hearts. Open hand, wild, open sky. Practice every day. Love fiddleheads, coyotes, white pines. Love red foxes and barn cats, our own round bellies. Love the first ripe cherry tomato, the last bite of pesto, raucous call of crows, and deep quiet of snow. Love bone and gristle, tendon and nerve, each other's tender hearts. Do not succumb to ownership and jealousy. Love through long rain, intense drought. Love in bookstores and kitchens, alleyways, and traffic jams. At countless protests and pride parades. Love even when angry and broken. Love even when angry, ashamed, heartbroken, become a sunflower leaning into the sun. So before we mistake love for sweet and easy, I want to read a poem called Love Notes about fierce survival love. And as a content note, this includes some reference to climate change disaster. So-called love notes. We may not survive the decade, much less the century. Yet, when deluge descends, this time, and this time, and this time, surface erupting in silver fury, we invite each other down to the murky bottom. Fill our ears, throats, bellies with the stories we most need. Swim among sunken trees and drowned rivers. Join the loons. Dive for our next meal. Find love notes buried in the muck. And may all the poetry tonight be love notes buried in the muck. So this next poem called Heart. In this time of shit show, this time of rising fascism, I believe that one of the many things that are going to get us through is love, this wild, ragged, fierce survival love. And we have to take care of our hearts. Take care of our own hearts, take care of each other's hearts. So this poem is called Heart. I started writing it at the very beginning of the pandemic. So has some details about those early months of the pandemic. Heart of lake flood level, heart of stone, heart of pine, heart of glacier collapsing, heart of spasm and dim, heart of river no longer reaching estuary, heart of scientists working to create a vaccine for which the whole world awaits, heart of hummingbird hive hay barn, heart of octopus and damselfly, heart of eon after a 16-hour shift, heart of thunderhead, heart of apple tree, heart of janitor cleaning rooms of the newly dead, heart of queerness, heart of kindness, heart of gender rebellion, heart of falcon nesting atop a skyscraper, heart of raven, heart of tightrope walker at 2 a.m., heart of dance floor disco ball drag queen after one too many whiskey sours, heart of no justice, no peace, heart of snake, mouse, owl, heart of bedrock, of treehouse, heart of grief, heart of jet stream, heart of Milky Way, heart of sandhill crane, heart of rumble, heart of rage, heart of hallucination, heart of hardness, heart of slowness, heart of worry, heart of orgasm, heart of gasping for breath, heart of ventilator, heart twitching, heart stumbling, heart beginning to stop, beginning to break, beginning to rise. And one more. So this poem contains some details about people die of injustice, but there are no extended descriptions, no purient details, but vivid mentions. This is called praise. Let us praise our canes, braces, catheters, our crutches, air filters, wheelchairs, our ventilators, prostheses, hearing aids, sing ourselves. You survived the denial of a kidney transplant. Our stories strain, wisp, whirl out of us, stars dusting our lungs, tongues, pillows. You who did not survive health insurance greed, praise our medicine bottles and tinctures, ice packs and insulin pumps, spasms and unrelenting pain. Sing ourselves gnarly. You who did not survive the psych ward, we cook, laugh, lie down to sleep. Praise our withered legs, feverish skin, aching head, sing ourselves essential. You who did not survive COVID-19 and dementia alone in a nursing home. Dream a history of rebellion, a universe of love notes. This too will be evidence. Feathers and bones, you who did not survive police custody. Praise our broken hearts. Sing ourselves cherished. Thank you.
Yay, let's give it up for Eli. Thank you so much. Sing ourselves cherished. What an incredible line to end with. Thank you so much, Eli. In a room full of people who are queer or allies, for this incredible reading, thank you so much for kicking us off. Remembering, thank you so much for reminding us to remove our masks when we're up here, so it's a little bit easier to read the lips. And I am wearing a very fabulous Dior red today. I can give you the number in the code later. Wow, and again, a nice reminder that we have access copies in 12-point font at the front. So if you would like one, chat with the folks at the front and they'll be able to get you squared away. Our next reader this evening, Qurat Dar, is the author of Nonprofit by Ice House, winner of the inaugural Clare Harris Poetry Prize, and a current finalist for a Lambda Literary Award. She was the city of Mississauga's, apologies if I butchered that, Youth Poet Laureate from 2021 to 2023, and the 2020 Canadian Individual Poetry Slam National Champion. Qurat's poems have appeared in Agor, Event, Arc Poetry Magazine, and across the Toronto Transit's Commission Network. Please give a warm welcome to Qurat.
Oops. Don't mind me, mild technical difficulties. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first time doing a poetry reading outside of Canada. So, yeah. So I was so jazzed to be invited by Host Publications to read tonight. And thank you so much for putting this reading together. My hometown is Mississauga, Ontario, which is the traditional treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. So I'm really happy to be sharing some poems with you tonight. This first one I wrote for Godzilla, so it's called For Godzilla. I covet the rubble beneath her feet, her lazy swipe shattering stories of corporate soda glass, undoing every would-be Babel. My gums ache for her ovation of teeth. I want to rise from the sea, something endless and horrible, something to be revered in translation. Oh, to be a city born in her moult, to eat the tops of buildings like rabbits ruining carrots. Oh, to sun myself on airport tarmac, swatting fighter jets like fruit flies. A forked road in my mouth. Oh, to see the heat leaving God's body, taste it in darts. Thank you. So I have a lot of existential dread about AI, as one does, And that kind of got channeled into this next poem. It's called Digital Twin. Deepfake Qurat does a cartwheel, grass-stained, breathless, beams at the camera before braces civilize her mouth. Deepfake Qurat at the ballet recital, the swim meet, deepfake parents in the crowd, cheering. Deepfake Qurat at a surprise party, eyes glistening with candles. Deepfake friends singing happy birthday in reverse. Deepfake Qurat stays out late, comes home in shorts, unfazed, never gets moonsick. Deepfake Qurat autocorrects everyone who has ever mispronounced her name. Compilation. Deepfake Qurat draws blood for every stray hand and leer. Compilation. Deepfake Qurat carries herself like an insult, like cut glass. Deepfake Qurat is as subtle as a muezzin in his tower. Deepfake Qurat loves like a call to prayer. Deepfake Qurat doesn't write a single poem. Thank you. This next poem is called Local Family Doctor Misdiagnoses Lycanthropy as PCOS. I delude myself into thinking I'd have been a vampire in an alternate dimension. As if 4 points of contact in my mouth could ever be enough. As if I'd pale below the moon instead of silver. Hunt with guile instead of the kerosene instinct of a wounded thing. My body, its own seam ripper. I split and bloom fur, flash flood at every surface, bubbling at the skins. I know nothing as intimately as my own rupture. Every full moon, I measure the length of my claws, the migration of my joints, painstaking, citizen scientist of the family curse, leashing myself to a desk as long as I can bear, bullets sparking in my teeth, raising the coat from my jaw as soon as it grows in. Civility is an unyielding muzzle. Not enough wolf in me for the forest to take me back. Not enough girl in me to forest myself. Hell and burning hair smell the same. Thank you. This next poem is partially inspired by this like geometrical figure called Gabriel's horn. It's like some people see it as a paradox because it has finite volume but infinite surface area. So that comes into the poem a little bit. It's called Alternate Vision of the End of Days. Jibril's horn calls every shipwreck home, every infinity a palm's length. Israfil sings and glaciers coalesce from the thaw. Every dead language has mouths again. Lovers buried together touch each other's faces and weep. Old-growth forests erupt from parking lots. The sun sets in the east and knows no empire, remembers every unshed leaf and bloom by touch. Thank you. I have one last poem for you tonight. I did bring some copies of my book with me if you choose to check them out. I tried to get a PayPal QR code. Hopefully it works. We'll see. Oops. Anyway, thank you so much for being a lovely audience. Can't wait to hear more of everyone's work tonight. So glad to have been a part of this. This last poem is called Dua for the Weary. My God says, turn everything into an altar. The toilet bowl, the stranger's knees, says there is no indignity in worship, says a prayer is still a prayer even if it only finds your lips while you're seized in pain or need or quiet desperation, says make a mosque of this body. A prayer is still a prayer even if it only echoes in your limbs rather than over rooftops. My God says, I want for nothing. Save your pretenses for each other. A prayer is still a prayer if it holds no reverence. If it is screamed or begged or sobbed, says, you don't have to want salvation. You can make a cathedral of the bus stop, the waiting room, your cell phone. A prayer is still a prayer if it is to a forgotten God, or a dying God, or to no God at all. My God says, I know you are a burial ground. I carved your mouth into an empty grave, but a prayer is still a prayer, even if it is silent. My God says, swallow forgiveness like a river. Show yourself the mercy of an oasis. Whisper love notes into your palms and make wudu. Thank you so much.
All right, let's give it up for Qurat. Wow, when I received access copies of some of the poems in preview, I was like just feeling butterflies and excitement to get to hear them in person, and the Godzilla poem just hits. It hits so hard. And I want to mention that this evening Joshua isn't able to join us, so we are short one reader. But our next reader will be our third reader for the evening, and is the reason why I'm in New York to celebrate. So I feel deep gratitude to our incredible poet, Heidi. I will let Heidi speak for themselves and share some poems with you this evening. Heidi Andrea Restrepo Rhodes is a queer, non-binary, crip-disabled brown writer, artist, scholar, educator, cultural worker, and creature of the Colombian diaspora. Their books include The Inheritance of Haunting, Afterlives of Discovery, Speculative Geographies in the Settler Colonial Imaginary, Wayward Creatures, and Ampersand Organ, a more than human lyric. They are a professor of feminist, queer, and disability studies and the poetry co-editor at Apogee Journal, and currently live in Southern California. Please give a warm welcome to Heidi.
Hi, everybody. Just let me get settled for a moment. Thanks for being here. I just wanted to briefly thank Annar, Clare, and Laura of Host Publications. They have been an incredible home, press home. I could go on forever about that, but I won't. And thank you to Eli, Qurat, Jason, Stacey, and Joshua. Joshua's not here, but just for sharing tonight. And people sort of have been asking, like, who do you think's going to win this award, And I'm just like, we all won already by sharing in this moment together. And that we get to keep writing the poetry that we do in a fascist context. That's the win. So thank you for sharing in this time together and doing the work that you're doing. Thank you also to Jane and Leo and Poets House, the whole Poets House team. This is my first time reading at Poets House, which is such a dream come true. I lived in New York for 7 years, and this place was a haven, and I miss it deeply, so I'm very grateful. And thank you to everyone else for just being here. I often think about a moment when Ross Gay just commented on how any one poetry reading, like this particular combination of worlds and lives that showed up in this space and this time will never happen again. And it's a stunning thing to just honor the moment. I tend to write longer poems, so I have 2 pieces to share with you tonight. The first poem has an epigraph. In November 2023, the Vatican ruled that trans people can be baptized into the church, but only, quote, if there are no situations in which there is a risk of generating a public scandal or disorientation among the faithful, end quote. This is titled To the Disorientation Among the Faithful. I learned to pray from the book of those who dared to be so alive it frightened entire countrysides. I find myself always at the sea, the seat of sacred starfish in sermon from their tide pool pulpits, and I, dipping the whole of my flesh into its salt, open my mouth to sip your spit, love, a holy water filling me. The stones of your teeth passage me to the honeying orchard, giving that good kind of burning. Isn't that when the whole of the world and its beyond bursts most brightly into flame? I remember the first time I met someone who was out as trans. He was a guest speaker in my college freshman year history of sexuality class, proudly telling us he'd been homecoming queen. What confusion followed for many when he shared this fact. The possibilities of who he was and had been disorienting to those who mapped their faith binary and singular, scandalized by the incongruence of it all. I remember nothing else of that day, near the turn of the millennium, otherwise quiet, except wanting to leave my seat and find home in the flower field of his body. My lungs juniper mist, knowing a north star when I see it, safe in the wandering, feeling found. Scandal means outrage as much as incident, getting lost and found out. At its root, a stumbling block, threat of diabolical influence into misstep, faith a position of definites coordinated, disorientation, a confusion of place, having lost one's bearings. Those losing their way, cutting holes in the tyranny of the real, the fences of right and rule. For example, funereal grief joy at St. Patrick's Cathedral. 1,000 beautiful monsters gathered to bury a matriarch. Our wilderness of intimacies, lighting candles for those who've sold the offering of their limbs by the hour, survived and not. Hater mouths agape and self-righteously sneered. What scandal, what animals we are to believe so devotedly in each other this way. Some say the head dipped down beneath water is a reminder of the impulse to breathe. The lung filling itself with motion, a blessing and right. Inundation of desires, each giving us new names. If there is any psalm that stays with me, it is a praise song for the obscenity of anemones and nectarines. Praise to the disorientation among the faithful who stray and come running with arms wide open into the flower fields of our bodies. Thank you. Another epigraph. As of July 2025, 953 anti-trans bills were under consideration across the United States, seeking to deny trans people access to basic health care, education, safety, legal recognition, and the right to exist, from translegislation.com. I think maybe in the access copy I might have also put what the current number is. Just, would you mind reading it? I don't have that. 763 as of this month for this year. So this is transgender opera for perpetual metamorphosis. 1. My beloved is called an inconceivable beast, a spectacle diagnosed with teratoid genitalia, a chaos of pronouns, a body breaking the rules, hair and suture and unexpected timbre outside the map. My beloved is first in the firing line, in the active shooter drill given no refuge. We are expunged from curricula, disallowed the toilet's relief. Fascistic tendencies festering, national evangelism of binaries taken as daily bread. A congressman in Florida jokes about putting us all to death. A pastor in Texas gives Sunday sermons saying every gay person in America should be executed, lined up and shot in the head. The Supreme Court stuffs its mouth with theories of religion. Police steal our kin down to concrete and coffin, a brass and parabellum cessation of breath. Interlude. It is telling that Western science has a term for animal behavior called deceptive sex signaling. See marsh harriers and hummingbirds, for example. All malleability, a criminal betrayal for panic defense. No opera for perpetual metamorphosis. 2. Neither man nor woman, I am water and shorebird. Over tea, we ask the hard questions. How to reach beyond this periphery, reverse the enclosures of mind. All bodies in theater, all theater, life. 3. My beloved says we are cosmic faggots making new and better pleasures, generations of illegible and exquisite, extending possibility to the youngers. We are years of chrysalids, wild longings and wing, among the immortelles again, then again, and again. My beloved wields the syringe, a chemical and intramuscular intimacy. I kiss his pectoral scars, lick the summer beaded up in his clavicle. He carries me to the bedroom where we make an ambient weather, hold each other to the bone. My beloved suffocates in the bind, passing a difficult joy and sorrow. In the laboratory of our bodies, experiment cobbles glimpses of freedom. We tape our chests, we punk and drag, leave norms in the gutter, herald us a wreckage of genders, name ourselves extraordinary monsters. I take inventory in the holy hours and find we are a transgression, everywhere, beautiful and alive. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Heidi. I feel like I have very somatic experience to poetry, and that last run in that poem and that third part, just like my heart just races, and I feel a certain way every time I get to hear it. And here I go, crying again. I love poetry, obviously. What an incredible gift. Thank you, Heidi. Our next reader this evening, God, I hate contacts. I'm just going to do LASIK. It's time. Okay. Jason B. Crawford is a queer poet. They are the author of Yeet from Omnidon 2025, a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award for LGBTQ plus poetry, and Year of the Unicorn Kids from Sundress Publications. A Lambda Literary Fellow, Crawford was born in Washington, D.C. and raised in Lansing, Michigan. Please give a warm welcome to Jason.
Hi, friends. I'm just gonna look at this. Okay, I know what time. I'm real good at this, I guess. Thank y'all for being here. Thanks for having me. I love Poets House. It's a place I am often, so I love being here, and I love sharing the space with you all. Well, so all you really need to know about this book, which I'm holding in an awkward position at this moment because that's how it's written, is that this is a book about Afrofuturism and asking. Let's see if I can do this. It's fine. I can bend. It's asking, what does it look like for safety for Black people, and what would it be if all Black people on Earth decided to find a new space, a new Earth for their own safety. So the first poem I'm going to read is called On God and is an essay on language. It starts with an epigraph. Thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Exodus 27. We've all done it. In the sweat-licked heat of summer, thought of the ways an ice-cold Gatorade could coat the tail end of the throat, and made a promise to our Savior in exchange for moistened lips. How we quote scripture in our language, our bodies made of matches. We speak of the soft-memoried fables around crashing beer bottles and hollering mouths gaping with spit, circling a campfire mid-July. We say, on God, and it means, I promise everything to you, or equally, nothing at all. We sit in the presence of the dinner table, bellies full of collards and cornbread, and we say, on God, this is the best meal that's ever been made. Our grandma's hands readied in a spatula-whipped position, snips to not use the Lord's name in vain, but we only mean it as a hymn. On God, I promise, on God, I will fight to keep all those alive, around me alive, all of this family and friends that are not family, that I break my body into bread for. On God, I mean, oh God, I mean, this is not in vain. I pray, I pray, I pray, I am enough to feed them. So I wrote a lot of this book as if this was a history lesson happening in the future, like 500 years in the future. We all left. We said fuck this planet, and then found a new spot. And there's spaces in here that are essays, but there's also this space where I got to translate text, and this is specifically text that I grew up with. So this is Translations of an Ancient Text for Chris L. Butler. In the New World, we still say John, as in noun, the spot, noun, the lick, noun, the good, the noun, the what we need at this moment, as in verb. The words I forget are special until I'm holding them again in my arms. We still say we done, as in adjective, inevitable, as in verb, never question our mother's capable hands, as in verb, she breaks the chicken at the joint, severs the spine, always finds enough for 2 meals in 1 split bone. In the New World, we retired the word noun cop and noun verb police and noun prison, and verb remain silent, and verb silencing, and a list of other words we no longer need to govern us, like noun government, or noun president, or noun whiteness. We still say, "What's good, G?" as in noun, "Hello, my love," that I cannot name in public, as in verb, "I'm here for you to talk or not talk about it all," as in verb, "Let me unfold the table of my palms and bring sweet fruit to your mouth," as in adjective, "I'm choosing to ungroom this tongue for you, blessed boy, running from his own chalk shadow," as in adjective, "I'm sorry, I do not have more to spare." Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Jason. Let's do another round of applause for Jason. I'm devastated that we don't have copies of Jason's book tonight, but this is what we're all going to do, okay? We're all going to buy, even there's not enough copies for everybody to buy tonight, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to buy all the books out there, and then we're going to go home. We're going to harass our local booksellers, and you're going to say, buy 5 copies of all of the books of the people you heard tonight. I'm going to buy one for myself, and you're going to hand sell the other 4. They're going to love that. But our local bookstores, I mean, that we're championed by our communities is how poetry continues to exist in this city, in every city. And so we've got a plan. We're all going to get a copy of Yeet for sure. Okay, I know there's feelings of sadness approaching because I'm about to introduce our final reader, but soon after, we're going to do a little giveaway. So there's going to be good feelings coming soon too. And what a miracle that Stacey is here, because I might be imagining, but this is how it felt like to arrive to New York from the airport into the city. But I'm assuming Stacey took the plane, a ferry, 2 trains, a bus, and then yet another train to get here on time. So it is absolutely a miracle that the entire lineup is here to join us and in this room and safe and cozy. So I feel extra gratitude. Stacey Waite is the author of 5 poetry collections: Choke, Love Poem to Androgynon, The Lake Has No Saint, Butch Geography, and most recently, A Real Man Would Have a Gun. Waite is also the author of Teaching Queer, Radical Possibilities for Writing and Knowing, published by the University of Pittsburgh Press in 2017. Please give a warm welcome to Stacey.
Thank you so much. What a great reading. I'm so, I didn't take all of those things to get here, but I did fly here from Nebraska today. And I landed at LaGuardia just after 5. So my answer was, I really want to come to this reading, but I was very worried I was going to be walking in like right now. So the fact that I got to hear everyone and get here in time is such a huge blessing, really. So thank you to all the readers. Thank you to everyone at Host Publications for putting this together. I was devastated when I thought I might miss it because I had already booked my flight and they wouldn't let me change it. You know the deal. So anyway, thanks for being here tonight. I'm still getting used to having glasses. I actually said if you can believe I said this when my partner took me to look at glasses. They put these on me, and then I was like, they don't do anything. They just make it seem bigger. Like I was really having a lot of trouble with acceptance. I have 4 poems. This one's called The Tie That Binds. It's probably not good for you, your mother says, her eyes scanning from your eyes to your belt. She's worried your chest is bound too tightly, says it's not natural, that she's concerned about your health, your comfort. You're 16, and there is solace in moving through a day in pain. Shoulders marked with blood lines, a red road of welts forming on the stomach. It means you proceed through each moment, knowing that being who you are must hurt if it's going to mean anything. You learn this best in 2nd grade, when your nerves get the best of you, when you bite your tongue down to bleeding in gym class. Mrs. Garofalo thinks your tongue is gum, sends you to the girls' locker room to write 100 times, "I will not chew gum in gym class." In the locker room, your hands shake. The chalk makes the sound chalk makes. You taste the blood in your teeth. You imagine a world with no locker rooms. You know your body will always be at half-mast. Why didn't you tell her it was gum, your mother asks. And you hang your head, continue to peel the orange. You learn how to survive in the wild. You learn to feed the fire of your silence, to never open your palm, never show what you are holding, what truth is made natural in your trembling hands, perpetually out of breath, perpetually dying, lungs pulled tight. But you will not die. You will breathe slower, shallower. You will bleed, and you will live. This is a lot of that anti-trans legislation is coming through Nebraska, where I now have lived for the last 15 years. And this poem I wrote in a moment where we were waiting to see what was going to happen with a bathroom bill for high schools. And it was a moment where the board was deadlocked about what they were going to do, and the poem is called Deadlocked. The Nebraska Board of Education member Maris Bentley says, "We need to protect our kids from the harmful queer agenda." The board itself deadlocked 3 on 3. Maris Bentley fears that choose your own bathroom makes gender too loosey-goosey, like each urination will become a choose your own adventure. She's afraid kids will change their genders daily, afraid the sexual predators will come out of the woodwork like dirty, disobedient termites gnawing at the thin panel of values she's taught her 4 kids, her 10 grandchildren, the hundreds of students to whom she has been a counselor. Maris Bentley, there is so much I want to say, but I know it will do no good. You're deadlocked after all, like happened to me once, driving through Pennsylvania when a man's hands were deadlocked into my throat as I left a public restroom. I can't read the way you want me to, Maris Bentley. My gender is deadlocked too, in the space between man and woman, chromosomes deadlocked, hormones deadlocked, body deadlocked, haircut deadlocked, others like me locked dead in their bodies, locked dead in your language, locked dead. This poem's called "Give Us Your Pronouns." They say, "Give us your pronouns," so proud of themselves for asking. Give us your pronouns. Tell us how you would like us to refer to you. Your pronouns, your forenouns for people, for places, for things. The proper noun for you is your pronoun, which you should give to us. Give us your pronouns. Please help us refer to you correctly. We don't want to make any mistakes with your pronouns, which are yours and you have them. So give us your pronouns. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us time. Give us a bloodhound with no sense of smell. Your pronouns, your canine lost in the woods. Thank you. I'm just going to read one more. This is the most playful poem in the book, so many of them are sometimes playful, but mostly sad, given where we're all. So I figured I would read it, knowing I was closing the reading, try to, It's called Notes on Matt Damon. On ratemyprofessors.com, quite a few of my students suggest that my class is hard and that I look like Matt Damon. Some students have even granted me the infamous hot chili pepper rating for looking like him. It's hard to know how to interpret this. After all, Matt Damon is indeed handsome, and if my last words could be any words, those words just might be, do you like apples? Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples? To the middle school boys who bullied me. If you didn't see Good Will Hunting, you're missing some of the gems in the poem. I'm not from Boston, but the power of the accent does speak to me. I wonder what more Matt and I might have in common other than our East Coast upbringings. After all, he was born on October 8th, a Libra, and I am a solid, on top of things, Capricorn. My parents divorced when I was 7, and young Matt was a whopping 13 when his parents untied the knot. I wonder, did he run into the woods in celebration? Did he dream of the day he'd actually stop seeing his father's leather shoes at the back door? Did he refuse to speak in school? Did he dress up in girls' clothes or pretend he was the singer of girl bands like Heart or Wilson Phillips or, even better, the Bangles? Did he want to work with his hands but find his hands inadequate? Did he want to be taller? Did he wander the halls of his middle school with notebooks full of love notes never slipped into the lockers of girls who thought of him as harmless or never thought of him at all? Did he ever eat an entire gallon of cookies and cream on prom night while the rest of the neighborhood danced in their beautiful genders? Did he major in English like all us poets do because he believes language precedes action? Did he ever listen to his mother crying through the walls of his Cambridge home? Did he like Latin when he learned Latin? Did he know that when he was taking Latin, that only kids that eventually go to Harvard, which he did, take Latin? Did he drop out of Harvard because he wanted to be a movie star? Or because the ivy walls started to seem sinister? Or because he would have preferred to be the genius janitor, solving equations overnight, the unsung hero, the silent show-off, the handsome but underrated underdog? Did he love expensive gin? Is that why he married a bartender? Did he become a Red Sox fan the same way I became a Yankees fan? Because some inheritances we cannot turn down. Because our grandfather's opinions about Major League Baseball were more important than their opinions on racism, sexism, and war. Did he ever want to be a soldier? Did he know he'd grow up to gather white boy directors on HBO and combo mansplain, whitesplain racism to Effie Brown? Did he know what power and money and whiteness would make of him? Did he know what teeth masculinity sprouts in the mouth? What privilege he could not feel in the frightening woods of childhood? Did I know? Did I know the pain and danger of my failed girl skin was also the implicated safety of my white skin? Did I know the tangled web we weave, Matt Damon? With our white boy smiles and perceived objectivity, with our hot chili pepper ratings and East Coast accents, I don't want to be you, Matt Damon. What can I do to stop being you? To be some other kind of man, the kind of man who in the end knows when to sit down, shut up, and listen. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you. Thanks you again for the invitation.
Oh my gosh, what an incredible evening. So rundown. We've got some books. The amazing team here at Poets House can make sure you find a way to pay our amazing poets, and they will gladly sign your copy. And if you're not able to purchase, tell people about these amazing books. Tell your booksellers in your community, libraries, make sure it gets stocked, make sure they get celebrated. I would first like to do a quick round of applause for our amazing readers for tonight. Thank you. I would, one more time? Yes, we're going to do a group photo in 5 minutes after I close this out, so that I could gather my brain cells to learn how to smile. And I want to mention Poets House is a nonprofit space. So if you're able to give, please support an amazing space like this, where so many amazing readers come together. They carry Host Publications titles up in the library. We make sure we ship them as they come out. So this is always a place where you can read a book like Wayward Creatures. We're also a nonprofit organization, and we won the Constellation Award. So if you see these little flyers, they tell you about the Constellation Award, and then we're doing something called Battle of the Constellations, where I toxically pin all of the zodiac signs against one another so that we can try to match. And I think Capricorn's in the lead, which is what I am, obviously. And so, yeah, we've got some flyers here on some of the seats at the front. If you make a donation, I also have these really crazy expensive holographic stickers with our logo on them. So come and see me, and I'll make sure you take one of those home. Lastly, thank you so much, y'all. It is such a gift to be in this room and share space. Thank you so much to Poets House, to Jane, Leo, Subin, and the entire team here at the front. I didn't even meet you, but you are doing tech things, and that's really hard. Thank you for being here. Yeah, without further ado, let's celebrate one another. Let's meet one another. Let's come together. Let's get some books signed. Have a great night, y'all.